Welcome back, everybody. This is Dave the Gamer. Today I wanted to give you a little insight on what I'm doing as far as all of my alt accounts, and if you were to create or just starting in World of Warcraft, kind of what you might want to do for the long term to really be able to help you. I'm huge into investing for items, which is why I have max possibility for alt accounts to be able to store all of my items. And I want to go over basically how to how to set up your alt accounts and how to maximize your passive profits. So as you see, like I said, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7, all they do is just store items for me. My herb life, he is the person that is always, I send all my items to go to the auction house. My mage is who I use for farming open world and all my profit from. And my warlock is who I raid on. So I do farm also on the chosen one, my warlock. Not as much because a lot of times I have him with all of his world buffs, and there's multiple days I can't even log on to him because I don't want world buffs to tick down. So a lot of times I'll just have my mage. If I'm on my warlock, I'm usually trying to grind to rank 10 right now. I was kind of behind the curve. But I wanted to go into some of my alts, show you what all items I have and how I set them up. So my first alt account is called Feathers. At one point, all I had on him was AKA Feathers. So I'm going to add timestamps below with all the important information in my description and in pinned to the comments if you want to jump ahead. But I want to show you how I set up my alts. And my feathers used to only have feathers. So I try to name all my alts something that I planned on sending them. Each alt account, I usually only have 2 or 3 different items on them. And then I just buy a shit ton of those items, and it just makes it easier for when you're mailing stuff across all of your accounts. Like, I know, okay, I got feathers, send it to my guy named Feathers. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. But so with this guy, I have, these are all the items. This account is actually going to be stocking up. I'm going to start investing in items for ZG, which I'm going to make a video on. And as you see, this is where all my iron web silk is and my elemental waters, and I got some feathers here. It used to be all feathers, and this is a little bit of a bad example because I usually only limit it to so many different things, but he had some extra space on him, so I wanted to start getting into ZG items. Now, don't be afraid to ever use your mailbox as an additional bank space. So a lot of times you'll see, like, pretty much a lot of my other guys will have tons of stuff in their inbox, and then if it expires, it sends it all back to my main account. Then I basically send it back. It's a pain in the ass sometimes because it expires in 30 days and whatnot like that. But the basically, if you use properly, it's like you have 3-4 extra characters just using your bank slots, and then basically once a month you just gotta resend the person some stuff. And I have all of my accounts. Most of them have bags that are at least 10 slots or more. And then inside I have these 3 slots, and I'm going to buy this slot. So I stop buying slots when it gets up to 25 gold and more. If you have tons of money, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're looking to invest heavy in items and want to have thousands of items on one guy. So this is my first guy, Feathers. Let's take a look at my other ones. See on my screen, as I mentioned in my feathers portion, Large Fang used to have all large fangs, which would make the rage potions. I didn't find that item was making enough gold off my return. Like, they were selling for 10-15 silver, so I stopped investing in them. Essence alt, that's going to be my living essence of undeath, stuff of that sort. Water fire, that has all of my, let's go into Large Fang and I'll go through the others so you can see what they all have. But as you see, they all have a reason of why I named them that. It's just, like I said, it makes it so much easier to be able to mail stuff back and forth. So this guy right now, I ripped a lot of this stuff off him, so I'm going to be sending him more. but I have actually now, since I don't have the large fangs anymore, I keep all my large venom sacks in my grave moss. Recently, I've been turning all of my grave moss into greater shadow protection potions. I stocked up a ton in free action potions back when I was able to craft them for about like 30-40 silver a piece. Now they're gold and a half, so this is a great investment where I tripled my money off of. But you see how many large venom sacks I have. You want to hang on to these to about phase 5. And your oily black mouse, like you'll start to see a lot of different items I invest in. Like I said, I've showed before my ledger for TSM. So I love it because I can check all my items and I filter to how many items, and pretty much any item I have over 200 of is something I'm investing in and plan on it going up in the future. But let's take a look at my next one. All right, so this is my third one, Essence Alt. This is where I have all of my living essence and essence of undeath. Like I said, I have all the bags. These are going to become very popular when it comes to, I think, phase 5 or 6, when you can get the plus shadow damage to gloves. Every warlock and shadow priest is going to want these. So right now they're cheap, 60 silver. I plan on these going up to about a gold and a half, maybe 2 gold. I'll wait a week after the release of the content, let everybody else sell theirs, and then when it's scarce and other people want the enchant for their alts, that's when I'll capitalize. The living essence, they're cheap right now. You can pick them up usually under a gold. I buy most of mine for like 80 silver, and these are going to be great for greater nature resistant gear. This is my fourth one, Water Fire. And as you see, I have a ton of Heart of Fires. I also have the scales, which are for the rep to be able to use these. In later phases, you're going to be able to turn these into, one of these turn into 3 elemental fires, which is going to plummet the price of elemental fires. I could see these going up to 50 silver a piece. And just for that, I went a little, I went all in on these. But this is a great little example of how I set up mine. If you feel really strong on an item, just buy a shit ton of them and make them all one character. So I got one spot here. I didn't realize that. I'm gonna have to fill it up later. Looking at the next one though. So this guy called Blue Items, this is where I had all of my twink items. And as you see, I still log on every day and try to sell them, and they pretty much never sell. So I used to have my whole inventory and bank completely full with all the twink items and everything like that. I just have not had much success with them at all. Like I said, I still probably doubled my money off them, but I was expecting so much more, and I don't think it's really worth investing in them. The Frost Protection Potion, I think, is a great potion to invest in. Going to be worth a lot more in Nax, so I'm going to start making this guy have a ton of those. And the Librams, so this Libram and Protection, I picked them all up about a week ago for like 3-4 silver a piece, and they're already at 4 gold, 7 gold. And as you see, I have just, since you can, and also cards, but as you see, you can only hold 2 or 1 of each because they're unique in here. So it's a pain in the ass to have to send them to yourself, because you can only send them 1 at a time. But if I see these go up to a decent amount of gold, I'm going to be sitting on a nice profit. And looking into the bank of this guy, I have a ton of Heart of the Wilds, because they're going to be in one of the living action potion. I might end up selling these. Right now they pretty much are on the auction house for vendor price. You are going to use them for a living action potion, which is great to get out of stuns and stuff. People are going to need it for PvP. The only problem is I don't think they're going to go up very much, for the fact that you can easily do lasher runs on a mage or something, so they're easy to get. The nature potions, just the regular ones, I highly recommend getting a bunch of these for AQ. Everybody's gonna, like, in the beginning you're gonna want greater nature potions, but as you get it on farm, you might only switch down to nature, just regular ones. Now I made the mistake of actually turning them into potions. As far as bank space management, you want to keep them as the raw herbs. It's definitely a lot better as far as that goes. But right now you can make these for about 20 silver, and on my server they typically sell for about 50 silver. And then you want to start looking into getting nature resistant rings, frost resistant rings, stuff like that. These plus 14's not good, but plus 18 and above, those will sell very well when the later phases come in. Let's check out the next guy. All right, this guy I named Enchanter. At one point I had a bunch of enchanting stuff on him, but since then I've swapped out. So this guy, I utilized the mailbox a lot better. So this guy has all of my fire bloom, my tears, which the tears I don't recommend in investing in unless you are on Alliance. There's a little oversight. For the AQ efforts, Alliance will need at least 10 of these for the quest turn in, so they're going to use a ton of these up. They're not bad for one of the potions you can make with them, but other than that, they're kind of junk. The fire bloom is going to skyrocket in price, and same with fire fin snappers. Those are going to be both used for making the elixir of firepower for the mages. So those are great. And then as you see in my inventory, anytime I get any more of them, I start sending. Purple Lotus, like I said, great. When you send your alt stuff, you really want to maximize how many are in here. So I try to, like, when I send it, I have the max amount of space. So when I have to resend it later on, it's much easier, if that makes sense. But I mean, if just in my mailbox, I have more than an entire inventory worth. So it's a nice little hack to be able to do that. Next guy is called Potion Alt. This is who I usually send a lot of my extra herbs to. This is what you need for the nature protection potion is the strangle kelp and the life root. So it's better to keep it in raw form because it stores better. I also have this guy with all of my ice caps, which are going to be great for later on. Same with stone scale eels, which are great for one of the stone shield potion or whatever for increase your armor drastically. Going to be great for tanks for later phases when they need it. But this guy, I really utilized the bank to be able to send everything. And like, you see how much you can store in here. His bank doesn't have a whole lot of other stuff. I think he has more fire bloom in it. But this guy, my plan is he's level 14. I'm going to get him to, I believe, 45 or 40. The reason why, and I'm going to make him herbalism, or hold on, I'm going to make him alchemy and tailoring. So tailoring, so I can make moon cloth on him, and the alchemy, so I can also, the reason I said 40 or 45, you have to be that level to get the recipe and use the recipe to turn Heart of Fires into the elemental fires. So that ability, you have to be that certain level, I believe, to get the quest or whatever. I'll have to look a little bit more into that and let you guys know. But it's all about thinking about how to set your guys up for passive income. So ideally, if you have time, you want to be able to get all of your alt accounts to like level 40. So since turning the Heart of Fire into elemental fires is a 10-minute cooldown on the timer. If say you had 4 people, like 4 different characters that were able to do that, you could craft, log out, craft the next one and do it 4 times, and then by the time you swap back to your main one, you could do it again. And I mean, that method you could probably make a couple hundred gold an hour doing, depending on how much Heart of Fires you have and how many other people are actually doing that. But then also, just to have all of your accounts to be alchemy and tailoring, you can do transmute of other things if Heart of Fire, shits the bed. And then Mooncloth is always going to be in demand for, the Bloodvine set and different high-end sets. So that's, to have one character, to give you an idea, to have one character that is able to transmute and Mooncloth, basically, if you hit all of the timers correctly, you're looking at about 300 to 500 gold a month off pass. Like, it takes 10 seconds to do whatever it is, and then you log off. Imagine if you had 5 characters like that. You'd be able to make, 1,500, 2,000 gold every month passively? Like, who doesn't want that? Let's look at the next guy though. This is the guy I do all of my auction house on. So if you're on my server, you've probably seen Herb Life a ton of times on the auction house. And I have a ton of different items, as you see, that I'm trying to sell currently right now. It looks like a bunch sold. And this is where I also have more greater protection or shadow oils. Like these shadow oils and everything, I'm not even going to sell them until later phases, probably Nax when people need them again. Right now, the prices has dropped. But these are some of the items that I will actually sell through the auction house, or I have bought lately. And I've bought a ton of large brilliant shards waiting for later phases, stocked up on powerful mojos for the Bloodvine set, got a ton of the black diamonds, which I picked up for like 3 gold a piece. Now they're easy 10 gold, they'll go up later on. The ecos, which I farm all these ones. You got different fire spell backs that are going to go up. Mooncloth, you know, I have about 28 of them right now. I hoard onto my greater internal. So this is the stuff, and I'm trying to get at least 100 little lock boxes so I can make a video opening up 100 random lock boxes for you guys. So it's gonna take me a while. I got like 10, you know, give me about 3 years and I'll have that video for you. But this is what I plan on actually keeping, and then this is what I actually sell through everything. But let's look at my alt mage that I use for all my farming. My mage AoE farming. I don't know how I got that name. I was so pumped when I did when it first launched. But so this is the guy I use for all of my AoE farming. Unfortunately, he only has a 60% mount just because I've been investing all my money. And with ZG coming up and everybody going to be AoE farming the Crocs, you need 100% mount. So it sucks for my alt, but I'm going to have to get him 100% speed. I hate to have 2 accounts with 100% speed, but that farm is going to generate about 200 gold an hour, I'd predict. So, you know, 5 hours I'll pay for my amount. But this guy, so with his mailbox, I basically, anytime I get extra herbs, since he is herbalism and alchemy, I just send everything to him. So I have a ton of different herbs that are just waiting. Usually once a week I'll come in here, make all my potions, send them to my herb life guy, and then turn it in for profits. I have a video I'm working on right now where I'm going to be opening up 100 of the oozing bags. It's going to take some time and it's going to take up a ton of my bank space, so I got to figure out how to manage all this. I get like 8 of these things an hour or so, so it's going to take me like 13 hours to get enough, and then I got to figure out my inventory, like I said. But with an alt account, you always just want to have all of the supplies needed to be able to go to, you know, MC or different raids for pugs, just to keep your guy geared up. The more geared, so this guy, he's not terribly geared. Like there's definitely some pieces missing on him as far as what I could use. You know, my staff shit, my bracers, but I do have what, 4 or 5 pieces of MC gear. The more geared you get your alt account, especially like doing, like I said, like a little pug raid, the easier and more profit you're gonna make. I have a guide I want to make on how to do BRD pulls, and it's a crazy guide I watched a video on, but you need about 180 fire resist. Well, to get 180 fire resist, you need to get some items in BWL. You need lots of items in MC. So there's a lot of grinding you have to do to be able to even be able to do some of these farms. So it's definitely good to have, no matter what your main class is. I find mage is probably one of the best overall alt accounts to have. So if you don't have one, think about making one. Hunters are great for doing, you know, tribute runs and stuff like that, but I love having a mage. You can do all sorts of things. But let's look at my main, see what he has on him and how I set up everything on him. On my main account here, just show you how I set some things up with him. So I have a ton of stuff in the mailbox. Most of all of it is going to be engineering supplies. I mean, as you see, all of my raiding supplies. I have so many dang raiding supplies. I just don't have room for it in my actual bank right now. So I keep having to send myself stuff, and then when it's raid day, just pull whatever I need out of here. and head to the raid itself. But I have a ton of different engineering supplies, which I basically build up, and I'll make the reflectors for frost and shadow. I found some great profit off them. They're expensive to make. You know, most of them cost anywhere from 50 to 80 gold to make, but they'll sell from 70 to 120 gold. So it's good profit, but ties up a lot of money. But yeah, I make a ton of all of my supplies I have ready in my mailbox, for the fact that if for whatever reason I got rushed and I had to hurry up and herf the Kargath, that I was able to basically go to my mailbox there, gear up without having to come back to my bank. Typically, I was doing a bunch of farming, so I usually always leave my amulet in my inventory to be able to get the Oni, and my douses to be able to douse flames and MC, my Onyxia cloak for BWL. Those are like the 3 items I always leave in my inventory, along with cachet. I use this for when I go to winter, spring, and I'm farming. Sometimes I'll have, you know, different trinkets where, depending on where I'm farming at, to be able to swap to them. Have the limited invulnerability potions for when you warlocks or warriors and rogues want to gank me. Pop one of those and just wreck your day. Hate to use them because they're 2 gold, but I will never die. I'd rather do anything for that. I have a ton of Winterfall Spirit beads that I'm saving up when I'm get revered, to use them and get exalted, to be able to get the Winterfall trinket or whatever that summons a bunch of minions. Starting to build up my Arena Master to be able to get the trinket for that. I still need like 7 more of those. I have all of my herbs and stuff to be able to make more of my Flask of Supreme Power. I stacked up a ton of demonic runes from when I was doing DM East runs. I'm starting to use them up in BWL runs with the guild. As far as gear, I just got my sash last night, or the other day when I was raiding. I have the other sash for the hit, but this one, until we have more hit, I think is better overall. Like I said, the shadow cloak, the raft I usually switch to when I'm raiding. Same with my fellcloth gloves. I haven't got anything better. Same with my boots. You know, I still have some of just BIS as far as getting in the raid. I haven't had the best luck on gear dropping, or, you know, there's higher ranking warlocks than I am. So I'm kind of waiting my turn out. Most of them are pretty much fully geared now, so it's going to be my time to get some items. But I have a ton of greater arcane potions. I find the best way is to find someone that can make them by the mats, and you save about a gold per potion. Tons and fire protection potion. I usually roll with, you know, 10 to 15 of each item. I usually don't use that many, but if a guildie doesn't have it, it's nice to be able to give them some. Same with restorative potions. You need the lesser invisibility potions to be able to get the DM North buff. So you want to have a couple of them always on you. And as far as my current gear, like I said, I still have a bunch of fellcloth gear that isn't the best. I switch to this gear when I'm farming, because like my cloak, it's plus, or my back, that's plus 19. I use that for raiding to get the extra 5 damage out of it. But if I'm farming, I'd rather the intellect, the stamina, and I swap out a lot of pieces like that. Usually I run around with the one headpiece. I usually run around with the goblin rocket helm. So if I get into a 2v2, you know, mainly I'm geared as far as if I'm out farming for everything. But there's so many things I need to replace, as you see. Really, the only pieces that I plan on keeping for a while is the Nemesis shoulders and my Nemesis leggings, and probably one other piece like my helm, just so I get the 3 set bonus. But other than that, like, I have BIS gear going in the raid, but not as far as, like, I'm missing so much. Like, my priority that I want to work on getting is the MC trinket, to be able to get the damage boost out of it. A way better weapon would be ideal. I got a good robe as far as that goes. And then to get the Ami off Ragnaros. So those are my priorities, is high items that I'm going for in my next upcoming raids, along with better rings. As far as some of my guildies and whatnot, you know, they probably have easy 150 more spell power. So as far as raw parsing, I can't really parse that high when I'm, you know, hindered that much. But if you look at my item level versus parsing, I'm doing decent. I'm over 80 most of the time. It's like 85, 90, which isn't crazy. But I want to hit the parses a little harder. So hopefully in my next updated video, I'll be telling you guys 99% parses. We'll see. Maybe I just suck. Who knows? But sorry to ramble on, but I just wanted to show you guys all of my different accounts, kind of what I got going on, what I do with my alts, how I make passive income, just a little bit of what I got going on in the game itself and what I plan on doing in the future. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you stuck around this long. If so, please think about subscribing, hitting the bell. I got tons of great more content coming out on how to make gold. I'm releasing at least 2 a week. I'm gonna up it to 3 or 4 during, you know, this time with the coronavirus and shit like that, to be able to give you guys more content while you're trapped in the house with me. So love to hear from you guys though. Until then, game on.